It's your boy Jamar back with another video. Back with another banger. Today I'm reviewing All the Queen's Men, Season 5, Episode 4, entitled Man Down. And this episode was kind of fillerish, I'm not gonna lie. But something important did happen at the end of the episode where I feel like it got a little bit of a score. So let's talk about it. So the episode starts off with Madam on the news talking to the news lady, and basically they're talking about the grand reopening of Club Eden after, Madam won her case and got shot. So basically, everything was going good, but then Madam started having flashbacks about the night she was shot, so they had to shut the interview down early. So then Madam's yelling at Tommy and Blue saying, "How come they haven't found no one who shot her yet?" They basically try to give out clues saying it is someone that they think that is a possible suspect, but she was like, "So why don't you bring them here?" And this and that and third. So then Em comes to talk to Madam, and basically he's asking, can he get promoted to being a manager because he doesn't want to be a dancer forever. And Madam basically laughs at him saying, you don't know how to be a manager, and basically telling him that he should just stick to dancing. And that makes him feel some type of way. He talks to Diamond about it, and Diamond's basically telling him, don't listen to Madam, you can find job somewhere else. And then he basically feels like since he has a baby on the way, he has to do something with his life because dancing ain't it, which I agree. So then, boom, Doc sees El Fuego, and he basically shows El Fuego that Naima girl has been, doxing him. And he basically says that he can find out who's been doxing him, and he can send a report over to the police because that's illegal. So then, he basically tells Detective Davis about it, and Detective Davis basically ends up confronting Naima about it and basically telling her to put the post down because she can ruin her job, and this time when she gets fired, she will not be back. So she agrees to take the post down. Madam calls on Smoke to handle a situation for her. And it was nice to see Smoke because we ain't seen Smoke since last season. So seems like Smoke is going to be back to cause some trouble. Meanwhile, El Fuego comes into Madam's office with crutches and telling her that he just left the hospital. He can't dance for a while. And she asks him why he said he had an accident. So she basically says she's going to find him some other work to do so he can still make money, without dancing. And he basically thanks her. So then that old lady from the last episode, that babyface scene, was at the club, and basically she was flirting with Babyface, but then she seen Big D and started flirting with Big D. So then Babyface seen that and confronted Big D and basically telling him to stay away from his tippers, and Big D's agreed to back off. Carla and Tony are arguing about the club, but honestly, nobody really cares about that. So Midnight ends up showing Madam these notes. Well, Madam sees a note that comes into Club Eden. It's from the girl who stabbed Midnight. Madam basically tells her, listen, I can ban you from the club. I can ban her from the club, but you gotta be strapped up at your house. And he basically says, yeah, I'm gonna be strapped up. Don't worry about it. And then later on in the episode, she ends up sneaking into his house and, laying on his bed and everything. So then the man who, was beating up El Fuego for answers comes to visit Madam and basically tries to, get money from her, saying that, he owes her and this and that and the third. So then Madam, she plays nice at first, but you're going to see what she does later on. So then Miss Tandy comes to the club to pay Quincy a visit, and she basically asks Quincy for the gun. Quincy says, look, there's a $20,000 reward for whoever shot Madam. So the person who did shoot Madam, which is you, is going to give me $100,000 for me to keep quiet. And she basically agrees to give him $100,000 to keep quiet. Miss Tandy, girl, you need to stand up because that's sad and ridiculous that you letting him blackmail you like that. That's actually pretty sad. So then Amp is talking to his, sponsor, and he's updating him on everything, and then Madam comes and interrupts it, and, he basically says he'll catch up with him later. Meanwhile, Detective Davis comes to the club, and she talks to Madam about her case, saying that she needs to tell her people to stop deleting footage because although she doesn't care about her, this is still her job, and they need to stop tampering with the evidence. So then she walks off, and then that's when she runs into Doc, and I already told y'all what Doc told her about the Naima girl and this and that and the third. So then Babyface and Quincy run into each other, and Quincy suggests to Babyface that he just did a dance for this mother and daughter duo, and he feels like it'll be a smart idea to do a father-son duo. At first, Babyface turns down the idea, saying, no, this and that, I'm not dancing with you. And then he later on goes to see Madam and comes up with an idea and tries to make it seem like it's his original idea to do the father-son duo, and Madam agrees to it. So that was weird that Babyface tried to steal Quincy's idea, but sure. So then Miss Tandy's talking to Detective Davis, and Detective Davis basically tells Miss Tandy that I never got a statement from you, and she's like, well, you don't need to get a statement from me. I'm the mayor, and she's like, well, what's wrong with me getting a statement from you? And she's like, well, I signed your checks. She's like, are you threatening me with my job instead of just answering a simple question? That makes you a suspect. And she's like, if you must know what I was doing that night, I was at my house. She was like, can anyone vouch for you? She's like, yes. So then I guess that's when she gives her Quincy's information. And, she basically says she's going to contact Quincy and this and that and the third. So now Miss Tanny is looking suspicious to Detective Davis. So then the boys are cashing out like they usually do. And Midnight's watching this video of this boy getting attacked by the police really bad. They're getting beaten really badly. And at first they didn't know who it was. And then they realized that the person was Ray Sean. So Ray Sean might have gotten taken out by the police, it seems like. So now at the end of the episode, the man who, beat on F. Wago's kneecaps literally got tied up by Madam, and basically she slices his throat while her fans are on the news saying how good of a person she is, and that's how the episode ends. So that was the end of this week's episode, and I'll see you guys next week for episode 5.